Wow.
Welcome to the Scrimshaw NFL Scrimshaw 6, whatever the hell I'm calling this. I don't really have a name. Nathaniel Arfin's back. I've just recorded a podcast with him on politics. That's coming out tomorrow. I'm going to get this up right away because I want the football show to be up on Fridays. How you doing, buddy?
I am not so good. The Philadelphia Eagles really let me down on Monday night.
Hey, I was able to bet plus 5 7. I was able to get up plus 520 Falcons money line before that final drive. So
I mean, that had to be one of the worst coached games I have watched in recent memory.
run
Britton,
Saquon, run Saquon, run Saquon, get within the 15-yard line, forget that Saquon exists.
why are we throwing the ball to Britton Covey in the red zone? The guy's a punt returner. Nothing
You and I both had money on Saquon anytime and they wanted to be a dick.
unbelievable stuff. Unbelievably bad performance by them.
I mean, probably not helping the allegations that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts hate each other.
Well, Jalen Hurts is just not very good, and if you watch him for any decent stretch of time, it's clear that he's not a high quality quarterback. A
Yeah,
hot
but
take, but
neither is Jalen. Yeah, but neither is Nick Sirianni a good coach.
no, absolutely, this is not a defense of Nick Sirianni. Sorry, I can definitely see why it came off that way. The Eagles are just not in a good place right now. I wish we had a high quality head coach like Andy Reid or something.
I mean, could you say that the Eagles are who we thought they were?
Well,
Or sorry, that the Falcons are who we thought they were, and you just let them off the hook.
I think that would be an apt statement.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. That's not Herm Edwards, right? Herm Edwards is practice. Talking about
Yes,
practice. That's Herm Edwards, right?
that is
Who's
correct.
who's they are who we thought they were? Dallas Green.
That Denny Green, Denny
Yeah,
Green,
Daniel. Fuck Christ. No,
and that was
Dallas Green is the front man of City and Color.
that's correct.
Wow, that is some Canadian indie rock nonsense coming from me this morning. Um, 2 and 4 weeks for both of us. We went 1 and 3 on the games that you and I agreed on last week. Uh, you hit something. I don't. You hit the Saints against the Dallas, and I hit something. I don't know. It was a bad
It's
week.
somewhat of an understatement to say I hit on the Saints. That was a blowout.
Yeah, they won by like 27 or something.
Yeah,
Um, okay, I'm going first this week. I'm going back to the well. Washington Commanders plus 7.5. Um, Jaden Daniels is fifth by dropback EPA. He's seventh in success rate when he drops back. The Commanders went 0 for 6 in the red zone last week against the Giants. Yes, it's the Giants. I'm aware. The Bengals defense are 23rd by EPA, so it's not like they've been particularly robust so far. They made Jacoby Brissett look somewhat competent, which anybody who watched Thursday Night Football showed he ain't. But more importantly, I think this is going to be a track meet. If the Commanders run better, if they just run like 2 of 4 in the ends, like generally speaking, red zone success week to week is fairly lucky, right? Um, Jaden Daniel is clearly somewhat effective, right? Even if fifth and seventh, like I don't think he's the fifth best quarterback and the seventh best quarterback in football, but like clearly he's effective, even if a lot of that is probably quarterback scrambles. If they just run okay in the red zone, they can probably score 25. Joe Burrow still looks meh. You know, I don't know. It seems reasonable to me. Monday Night Football. It's a doubleheader on Monday night this week.
it is. And yeah, like seven and a half is a lot for the Bengals to be giving up. They haven't shown me anything. What's driving this line? Is it really just that much negative sentiment about the Commanders in general, or do you see something here that I'm missing? Seven and a
The
half feels
Bengals, the
heavy.
Bengals looked, the Bengals looked good in it, in covering but losing to the Chiefs.
Uh, I guess.
But like the Chiefs did not look particularly efficient. Isaiah Pacheco went down in that game. Uh, like I don't. This feels pretty clear to me. What's your first game?
My first game is going to be the first game on my board. It is the Chargers getting a point and a half from the Steelers.
So you're not
This
buying the you're not buying the Fields' songs.
no. Um
There's probably a
I
Fields
really
of Dreams jokes here I should make, but A, I've never seen that movie, and B, I'm not smart enough. So
it's pretty outrageous that you haven't seen Field of Dreams, but we'll brush on past that.
I don't care
Uh
about baseball.
the Chargers are just a good team, and the Steelers are not a good team.
Are we sure the
Uh,
Chargers are a good team? How many people who catch passes for Justin Herbert can you name?
is Will Disley on that team? J.K. Dobbins is there. He probably catches passes.
Okay, wow, that's more than I was expecting from you.
uh, but they have a great up and coming line. You know, Slater and Alt on the ends just it kills. J.K. Dobbins isn't that kind of downhill runner, and you know, I kind of hope that the Chargers will actually make a move to bring in a running back, which is rare. But yeah, 1.5 points against the Steelers, being a dog against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This feels like it should be at best a pick 'em. This the Steelers aren't a very good team, and
I mean,
yeah,
the Steelers might
I'm
have a
not.
top five defense in the league. And if you want to talk
Sure.
about teams that are over that are potentially overvalued week over week, um, the Chargers have played the Raiders, who might suck, and Bryce Young, who definitely sucks.
Yes. Bryce Young definitely sucks, but
Like
we're
I
talking
looked
about a
at it.
defensive line.
I think this is Charger. I think this is Chargers or no bet for me. I think I'm going to lean to no bet because the Chargers might be fraudulent. But I mean, Jim Harbaugh, like a Jim Harbaugh coach team, is probably not going to fuck up very much, which is a point in its favor.
And I love Joey Bosa. He's so good off of the edge. Um, they have a great defensive backfield with Asante Samuel and Derwin James. This it doesn't feel like Chicago is going to be able to move the ball, or sorry, Pittsburgh is going to be able to move the ball all that much. The line is 36 on this game. That's crazy low. And if we're only expecting 36 points, yeah, I'll take the Chargers and the points.
Yeah, I mean, you're only getting a point and a half. That if you were hanging a three, I'd maybe care about that. I feel like if yeah, I don't know. I get it. I'm not with you on that. Uh Packers plus three. I think it's still going to be Malik Willis, and I kind of don't care about that. Uh One, why are the Fighting Will Levises a 3-point favorite against a team that just beat Indianapolis? Like, I get it. Indy's run defense isn't great. I get it. Indy runs two high safeties a lot, more than anybody. You know, I get that that's like the Gus Bradley defense, and that's the case for Chicago this week. Although I'm not getting there with the Bears. Um, but like, and I get that the Titans should be able to like won't let the Packers run at will against them. I just like fundamentally don't think the Titans are very good. Yeah, they've been unlucky to be 0-2. But you say that, but it's also like Will Levis is going to do something stupid, right? we can't just keep being like, oh, but the Titans got unlucky that Will Levis made a terrible decision in a key moment. That's the price of doing business. That's like complaining that Jordan Spieth makes a terrible decision in his air raids. Of course he's going to do it. That's the point.
Yeah. If
Like,
if you get a Brett Favre gunslinger, he's gonna throw some interceptions.
he is like the very poor man's Brett Favre at this point. And like,
Very, very poor
as
man's.
somebody
Just
who lives the Brett Favre experience, you can't complain about the terrible interception. Like you
it's
just
yeah,
can't.
it's coming. Everyone knows it's coming. I'm not gonna tail you on that game, but I'm generally in agreement. Uh, Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm in on that game. Give me that game too. Packers +3. It's very strange, and the majority. I was way too low on Green Bay out of the from the outset of the season, and it's pretty clear that they are a better team than I thought they were. They matched up really, really well against the Eagles in Brazil, and the Eagles may still be fraudulent. You know, we'll have that conversation when it comes time. But yeah, the Titans just haven't shown me anything.
The 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 bull case for the Packers this week is honestly the defense stopping Anthony Richardson far more than it's the offense was able to move against Gus Bradley's defense. Because if they can hold Will Levis to 13, 16, 17 points, I have faith that we can get 14 or whatever.
I think so as well. And yeah, line in this game's 38. Again, really, really low lines this week. Um,
There's
yeah,
also a non-zero, probably close to zero, but probably a non-zero chance that Jordan Love still plays, but I don't think so. He was limited the last 2 days.
yeah. If it were up to me, I would sit him the extra week against Tennessee and have him healthy the week
I
after.
mean, every Packers fan would have taken 1 and 2.
Yeah.
With him coming back when that injury happened, so I'm not
I
going
mean,
to
I
complain about
wasn't
it
sure he was coming back, so I think that any Packers fan should be happy with this outcome.
for sure. Where are you going next?
So I'm not sure what Minnesota Vikings team the books are watching when they play football. And I know that the Houston Texans are good, but giving them 2 points at home, it doesn't seem fair to the Vikings, to be honest. Um, the Vikings have been a very, very good football team. They just beat the Niners last week. Give
So
me them 2 points at home against the Texans.
I'm going directly opposite here.
Interesting.
Vikings are frauds.
But how can you make that argument after they just thrashed the Niners?
Because shit happens in the NFL.
That's absolutely true. I'm a big believer in Justin Jefferson, of course, and Sam Darnold has looked good. He's making the throws he needs them to make, and he's willing to make mistakes. He's got a bit of that Will Levis, but the arm strength isn't completely not there. I mean, he's looked good.
The Niners were on a short week. They were playing their second consecutive road game. They were a West Coast team stuck on the East Coast for 2 weeks. Or East Coast or Central Time Zone. Now this is like the real the case for this is that regression happens. Banking on the hot team for 2 weeks is sometimes not a good strategy. And this line is going to look really stupid one way or the other, right? Because either the Vikings are who you think they are, in which case they should be favored, or this is closer to what the preseason line would have been, which is Texans 4, 5, 6 probably.
Yeah.
And
And that's the thing
so
about it is the
I'm just
points
gonna
just
I'm
get
just gonna
too
bank
enticing.
on I'm just gonna bank on the fact that that CJ Stroud is the substantially better quarterback, and you know, feel pretty good about the Texans.
Did it give you any pause that Joe Mixon and Damian Pierce are both trending towards out and Nico Collins is questionable?
I think New York Collins is going to play. That would give me pause. Do you think I give a fuck about running backs?
No, of course not. I mean, they have Cam Akers back there. He should be able to do the exact same thing that Mixon and Damian Pierce would have been able to do. I
Yeah.
mean, it's Collins is definitely a big deal.
But even then, Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs is fine as a receiving core for 1 week.
That's true. Absolutely.
Screw it. I'm going. Speaking of this Colts this week. I don't really get why this number is where it is. Caleb Williams has not proven anything to me about his competence. Yes, the Gus Bradley defense loves being in cover too. Yes, that would allow the Bears to run the ball more. The Bears' offensive line's a joke. The Colts, Gus Bradley is not a terrible defensive coordinator. I feel like some of the narrative about him is getting sort of over their skis. Um,
Yeah.
but like I think pretty plainly, this is the Colts are just a better team, and I don't. This is the problem: is that the Bears are still getting graded on this like preseason expectation. A lot of people wanted them to be the team that makes the jump, but like Caleb Williams needs to meet a certain level of competence for that to happen. And more importantly, I don't think that coaching staff knows what the fuck it's doing in Chicago.
And it would be nice to see Caleb Williams throw a touchdown before I'm willing to place a bet on him.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Although then again, we did just bet on Jane Daniels, who has not thrown for a touchdown.
that's a good point. I think
You're
I'm
not
with you here
tailing
on the
that
Colts,
Washington
though.
pick, are you? By the way,
No,
okay. You
no,
didn't
I'm
say
not.
so, but I wasn't sure.
I am not betting for the Commanders.
Okay.
Uh, I am gonna follow you here with the Colts. I as we've mentioned in the past, I'm a pretty big Colts fan. I like this team. Um, Last week was a tough loss against the Packers, who I again underrated. Um, but they're not the 0-2 team that Vegas seems to have them as here. Yeah, I like them against the Bears.
Okay. What's your fifth game then?
I am going to go and give up the points. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bo Nix looks bad. Uh, the Broncos are not very good. They're traveling across the country into Tampa Bay. Yeah, I'll give up a touchdown.
Feels like that line should probably be 7. I don't know that I'm gonna get there on it. It feels like the Bucks could be overrated for beating Detroit last week, but even then, their defense still held up better than you would have thought, despite all the secondary issues. I don't know how many of those guys are getting back, but like clearly there is a clearly there's a schematic ability to cover some of those issues, and also I don't think Bo Nix is in any way capable solving solving the opportunities put in front of him by no fuck it, I'm being talked into it. That half point's really valuable.
Yeah.
Because Bo Nix will not be able to take advantage of the Bengals secondary. And frankly, at some point, we just need to acknowledge that Baker Mayfield's good.
Yep. I've been singing his praises. The Browns made such a terrible mistake. Oh, he was hurt that one year, so we better move on from him and bring in Rapey McRapeface.
I mean, in the ever so slight, if if it's not as indefensible a pure football move as it now looks, because Baker has rejuvenated his career, And B, Deshaun has gotten nowhere close to as good as he was back then. It was
They
obviously
give that
indefensible
up
on
for
any moral
shoulder.
grounds, but like, remember when Baker was in Carolina and we all thought his career was over?
But I thought that was just Carolina. I really did.
Dude,
Um,
he was in a fucking quarterback he was in a fucking quarterback competition with Kyle fucking Trask in Tampa Bay at the beginning of last year.
that is true. I don't think he was ever really given the opportunity though, and he's shown us that he can be the guy that the Browns
Sure,
thought they had.
sure. But even then, Baker's what, the 15th best quarterback in football?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not trying to say he's an elite quarterback by any means. And if the Browns thought they were getting a top five, I guess you can make the case there. But uh, yeah, I
Again,
wouldn't have parted with
I'm
him.
just indefensible a football move with the information we had at the time, knowing Deshaun was never going to get back to anything close to those heights. It's obviously completely indefensible. It's also indefensible if you look at it from an asset standpoint, from a cost, like a financial cost standpoint. Sure, all of those things are true, but and obviously, if you think about the morality of all of this for 2/10 of a second, it becomes obvious they shouldn't have done it. But like, I don't know that Baker's winning anybody a Super Bowl, and Cleveland thought they had a roster that could win them a Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going Seattle minus 4.5. I don't think Seattle is very good. I think Skylar Thompson's absolutely terrible. Miami, get a better quarterback.
Yeah, it's really making me regret picking Tyreek Hill first in my fantasy drafts.
Do you
Um,
have a take on the like Tua should stop playing stuff or
it really comes down to what he is experiencing, what his doctors are telling him, and what he wants out of his life. We've seen it from guys. We've seen Andrew Luck walk away, and there is precedent for it now. And I don't think that that's the worst idea if he wants to protect his brain. He's obviously going to have his life altered by concussions and by brain injuries at this point. So it sucks, but that's football.
I mean, it feels patronizing the number of people who do not know what they're talking about, claiming to know what somebody should do.
Oh, I
Feels
mean, I
more
can't
than a little
pretend to be in his
patronizing.
head or
I'm
in
not
the
saying
room
you
with his
are.
doctor.
I'm saying the faux Twitter doctors.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay. What's your last pick?
Oh, I am going to go with the Lions -3. I think they're losing a little bit because of last week against the Buccaneers, who I think are better than people are rating them. And I don't think very much of the Arizona Cardinals, despite Kyler's seeming resurgence.
So you're telling me that the Cardinals beating the shit out of a Rams team that is down like five offensive linemen is not that impressive?
I if the corpse of Matthew Stafford could move a bit better, I might give them some credit.
I mean, the Lions are really like a how much do you still care about preseason evaluation versus a very rocky first two games. I know they won week one. It still was not impressive.
No.
Um, I think I don't know, man. I was pretty high on the Cardinals preseason, so like I'm not as surprised by these two performances. But I mean, if you think the Lions are like a capital V, capital G, very good team, then yeah, they should win by more than three against Arizona.
Marvin Harrison Jr. has looked really, really good, but the rest of that offense is just not doing it for me.
I mean, the
Uh,
Cardinals did need like a kickoff return for a touchdown in Week 1 against Buffalo.
it was a surprise, and it's not to take away from the fact that they did beat Buffalo, and Buffalo
No, they
is
did not beat Buffalo. They just came close to beating Buffalo.
who did they beat?
They beat the Rams last week.
That's right, of course, yes. Yeah, the Cardinals, they just I still think they're the team I thought they were in the preseason, which is improving but not there yet. I'm still not convinced Kyler's the guy, but they need more receivers. They need a running back. They need an offensive line. There's still pieces and pieces missing. And I think the Lions are as close as we're going to see them get to being at their peak in this cycle for them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it really just depends on whether or not you think the preseason evaluation of the Lions still matters. Yeah, okay. I'm 6-6 on the season so far. You're 5-7. Um,
And we got a
Hopefully
head to
both of
head
us
this
can
week.
get above 500 this week. Although that would involve you needing to go. No, 4-2 would get you there because that would get you to. No, that would get you to 9-9. So you would need to go 5-1 to get above. I would need to go 4-2 to get above. You're picking the Chargers plus 1.5, the Packers plus 3, Minnesota plus 2, Indianapolis -1, Tampa Bay -6.5, Detroit -3. All lines courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. Please sponsor me. Commanders plus 7.5, Packers plus 3, Houston -2. You and I are going head to head on that game, so we can't both sweep. Indy -1, we agree on. Seattle -4.5 for me, and Tampa Bay -6.5. Any final football thoughts? If it was still 2.5, I would have bet the Eagles, but or I would have bet the Saints against the Eagles, but it was a 3. So
Yeah. I did want to touch on that game um just quickly because I don't think the Eagles can cover 3 points against the New Orleans Saints right now. I just want to I want to shout out to the Saints for being my backup team for the NFC because they're looking really good.
fuck backup teams. Who the fuck are you?
No, obviously I don't really do that, but Derek Carr is having somewhat of a resurgence. Um, their defense looks good. I really, really like the Saints this year, but obviously I wasn't going to pick them this week. And I do also want to mention that this is probably one of the few weeks where I'm not going to pick against the Giants. And that is because I am not picking the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I honestly I think the Giants might cover that game mostly because I had 30 points. It's going to be slog to get to 30 points. So,
Yeah.
anyways, thanks so much for your time. At Arfin Nathaniel. Follow me on Twitter at Scrimshaw. Read my political writing at scrimshawscripted@substack.com. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel for this video. Political betting, NFL, NHL, everything else at thelives.com. Buy my book, Salvation of the Storm. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for having me.